Good morning, Dr. Smil, and to my classmate, good morning. I am Christine D. Boslon. Before I start my discussion, I have here a motivational activity called jumbled letters. Arrange the jumbled letters to form the words related to our topic. Number 1. Oh, that's correct. Number 2. Very good. Number 3. Oh, that's correct. Class. Number 4. Very good, class. Your all answer is correct. Based on my motivational activity, do you have any idea of what will be our topic today? Oh, very good, class. Our topic for today is about Vietnam cuisine. Before we proceed to our discussion, I will play a video fun facts about Vietnam.
10 interesting facts about Vietnam. 1. Vietnamese New Year is known as Tet. It's the largest Vietnamese festival and one of the most popular festivals in Southeast Asia. Tet is celebrated by cleaning the house, reuniting with family and giving offerings to ancestors. 2. Almost every household in Vietnam has a motorcycle. There are more than 60 million motorbikes in the country. Not bad when you consider the population is around 90 million. By comparison, the UK with a population of around 60 million has just 1 million motorcycles. 3. Vietnam is home to the world's largest cave. Stretching over 3 miles, Hang Son Doong is a natural marvel. The cave's chambers are large enough to house an entire block of New York City skyscrapers. 4. The name Nguyen is the most common surname in Vietnam. Reportedly 40% of Vietnamese folk are Nguyen. Anyway, if you meet two people with the same surname in Vietnam, it does not mean they have a familial or hereditary connection. 5. Vietnam is home to one of the world's most impressive waterfalls. Ban Giang Waterfall is Vietnam's widest waterfall and one of the least visited natural wonders in the country. It is fed by the Kỳ Son River, which marks the border between Vietnam and China. 6. Vietnam street foods go directly into the Oxford Dictionary. Its infinite variety and incredible flavors distinguish Vietnamese cuisine. Banh mi and pho are two Vietnamese words defined in the Oxford Dictionary rather than being translated into English. 7. Vietnam is the world's second largest coffee exporter. You might be surprised to know that Vietnam is now the world's second largest coffee exporter, trailing only Brazil. Weasel coffee is the most expensive coffee in Vietnam, also known as Kopi Luwak or civet coffee in Indonesia and the Philippines. 8. Lotus is the national flower of Vietnam. In 2010, the lotus flower was chosen as Vietnam's national flower. The chosen flower is widely planted throughout the country. Lotus is a type of aquatic plant that grows in muddy ponds. 9. They drink snake wine for vitality. In Vietnam, snake wine is a pickled snake in rice wine. It is widely believed by some individuals to improve health and virility and is even drank for therapeutic purposes. 10. Dog eating has deep roots in Vietnam. In parts of the country, dog meat is considered a delicacy to be eaten with rice wine or beer. They believe that eating dog meat at the end of the month or at the end of the year will supposedly help people to release bad luck. Those are some of the many interesting facts about Vietnam. If you like this video, please watch many other interesting videos, only on this channel.
Highlights of the people's food. Cuisine in Vietnam is quite varied, with many foreign influences having affected its development over the years. In the north of Vietnam, heavy Chinese influence has led to the more heavy use of stir fries and wok-based or slow-cooked meals, often with noodles and vegetables. In the south, where the growing climate is more conducive to a variety of herbs and crops, dishes are typically grilled or eaten raw with more sweet and salty elements added in. So in Vietnam, it is influenced with Chinese. The French occupation during the colonial period also is largely rumored to be responsible for the popularity of one of Vietnam's staple soups. Most every meal includes rice, that all-important staple in Vietnam. This may include rice and alternate forms such as noodles, rice paper, rice porridge, rice, wine, etc. Rice is served at almost every meal, even dessert, and is used in most every dish. Fish sauce or nuoc mam, popular staple condiment for the Vietnamese, made from fermented aquavit, laid out over 6 months in wooden barrels and salt. This fermented and condensed flavoring in a bottle is used in cooking and as a condiment on table for after the meal is prepared. Many families mix it with garlic, lime, sugar, and chilies as well to give it more flavor for the topping. It is as common as the table salt is in the West. Herbs used in cooking vary depending on the region of Vietnam. Used commonly include cilantro, lemongrass, basil, dill, mint, green onions, scallions, garlic, lime leaf, ginger, tamarind palm, cinnamon, and fish leaf. Chilies are also often mixed into a dish to give it added flavor. Tamarind palm, cinnamon, fish leaf, green onions or scallion, garlic leaf, lime leaf, and ginger is the spices that can include in the Vietnam dishes. It also add flavor in the food. Dairy products such as milk, creams, and cheese are rarely found or used in Vietnam's cooking. Is the common use of sweetened condensed milk. This sweet form of dairy is often added to coffee, making it an incredibly strong and sweet drink. So, Vietnam is the second producer of coffee. Example of dairy products: cheddar cheese, butter, milk, yogurts, soya milk, and cream. Meats and fish are also commonly used in all Vietnamese cooking. Dishes often contain at least form of meat or fish. So, in the next discussion, we all learned these dishes. Also include their dishes, meat or fish. It's like steam or sauté. Food practices. The Vietnamese diet. The traditional Vietnamese diet is healthy. Meals emphasize rice, vegetables, and fish, and cooking methods often steaming or stir-frying. Rice is the staple of the diet, consumed in some form in almost every meal. For Vietnamese adults, all three meals of the day may consist of steamed rice with side dishes of vegetables or fish or meat. Fish is the most common protein in the Vietnamese diet. They prepare fish in a variety of ways: steamed, sauteed, and fried. In Vietnam, pork and chicken are also popular. So, Here's a video in how to make steamed rice cakes in Vietnam diet.
Hello everybody, welcome to our Weekend Meals channel. For today's video, I'll be showing you how I make Vietnamese rice cake bánh bèo. So let's get started. For the rice cake bánh bèo batter, here I have 1 cup of rice flour. Add 3 tablespoons of tapioca starch, half a teaspoon of salt. Let's mix up the dry ingredients. Add 3/4 cup of cold water. Add another 3/4 cup of hot water. And let it rest for 2 hours. We're going to prepare the mung bean. This is the type of mung bean I use, pure mung bean. In this pot, I have half a cup of mung bean. I clean it out like the way we clean rice several times and drain out the water. Then add a cup of water into the mung bean. Add half a teaspoon of salt. Cover the lid and cook for half an hour so the mung bean can be softened. I added some vegetable oil into the pan because we're going to make green onion oil. Now the white part of the green onion goes into the pan first. Now I'm going to add the green part of the green onion. Give it a quick stir and remove it from the heat. Here I have half a cup of dry shrimp and I soaked in water for an hour. Now I'm going to drain out the water. I'm going to stir fry the dry shrimp. Stir fry for about 5 minutes and remove the dry shrimp from the pan. Using the food processor, I'm going to mince up the dry shrimp. Now the minced dry shrimp is ready. The batter has been rested for 2 hours. Transfer the batter into the measuring pitcher so it's easier for us to see. As you can see, the flours sit on the bottom and there's a layer of water on top. We're going to filter the water out. By doing this, it makes your rice cake. It doesn't have the floury smell when you eat. So I filter out almost 3/4 cup of water. Now I'm going to add 3/4 cup of water back into the batter. We're going to stir this up. Here I have the little cups waiting for the batter so we can turn this into rice cake. Brush a layer of oil on all the cups. Pour in the batter. Now cover the lid and let it cook. It's time to remove the rice cake from the cup. What you do is run a knife around the cup and lift the cake up. Add a little mung bean on top of the rice cake. Next, add the green onion and oil. Last, we're going to add the dry shrimp on top. Serve this dish with a bowl of dipping sauce, fish sauce, Vietnamese steamed rice cake, bánh bèo. Please enjoy.
Breakfast. Pho is sometimes eaten for breakfast. Also popular are salty cakes made of rice flour with minced pork and dried shrimp. The more Americanized Vietnamese may eat breakfasts of oatmeal or French bread and with jam and tea. In lunch, might consist of banh mi, a sandwich of carrots, cilantro, onions, and daikon with pork or chicken on a French roll, rice vermicelli, or pork and vegetables wrapped in thin rice paper wrappers. In dinner is almost always rice plus a few steamed or stir-fried dishes, typically including vegetables and either fish or pork. Popular dishes or specialty of Vietnam. Number 1, pho or noodle soup is a type of Vietnamese soup that usually consists of bone broth, rice noodles, spices, and thinly sliced meat, usually beef. It's often topped with herbs and bean sprouts. Here's a video in how to cook pho. Chaka or chaka lavong is a delicious and iconic fish of Hanoi. Chunks of flavorful fish are plated on a bed of aromatic green scallions and dill, boasting a unique dining experience. So, there's a video in how to cook chaka lavong. popular street snack in Vietnam. The name means sizzling pancakes or crepes and refers to the sound the butter makes when it hits the hot skillet. So there's a video in how to cook bang shao.
Hey guys, today we're making banh xeo, Vietnamese sizzling crepes. We'll start by making the batter. It uses about 2 cups of rice flour. That's the red bag. Salt, sugar, a little bit of turmeric. Mix it together. Add about 2/3 cups of coconut milk and 1.5 cup of water or club soda. I'm using club soda today. It lightens the batter up a little bit. We'll give that a good whisk and set it aside while we work on the filling. Typically the filling is made with pork belly and shrimp. I'm going to make it with chicken and shrimp today. I'll heat up some oil in a pan and then add onion and let that cook for a minute or so, and then add my garlic. Next I'll add my chicken, a little bit of salt and pepper. Let that cook until the chicken is cooked through. For the shrimp, you have a couple of choices. You can cook it separately or you can cook it with the crepe. I like cooking it separately and then adding it to the crepe later, just to prevent overcooking the shrimp. So if cooking separately, we'll cook the crepes by heating oil in a pan over medium-low heat. Add about 1/3 cup of batter and then swirl the pan around to distribute. We'll cover it and let that cook for 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes, remove your lid. Add your chicken, your shrimp, bean sprouts, green onions, or whatever filling that you're using. Make sure that filling is off to one side because you'll be folding over the crepes. Let that cook for another couple minutes until it's crispy on the bottom, and then remove onto a paper towel lined plate. You repeat until you've used up all your batter and your filling. Enjoy! Thanks for watching. For this recipe and more, visit craftstocrumbs.com.
Number 4. Cao Lao is a famous Vietnamese noodle bowl dish. Specialty of Hoi An City comes from these chewy rice noodles, aromatic broth, pieces of spicy barbecued pork, fresh greens, bean sprouts, and crispy croutons are just some of the known ingredients. So there's a video in how to cook Cao Lao. raw mung, also known as water spinach and morning glory, is a leafy swamp vegetable that grows in abundance in Vietnam. So this is so familiar, not just familiar, but we have in here, that's what we call tangkong in Visayan. We cook in ginisa na tangkong. So there's a video in how to cook raw mung. Nemran or cha ji u, or fried spring rolls. Vietnamese fried spring rolls are delicious with crispy exterior and flavorful filling. This dish is a must in any traditional Vietnamese buckets or celebration. And there's a video in how to cook nemran or cha ji u. fresh spring rolls is a Vietnamese spring roll made with shrimp, pork, vegetables, herbs, and rice vermicelli wrapped in bang trang or Vietnamese paper, one of the most popular staples in Vietnamese cuisine. This dish has a very similar in here. That's what we call fresh lumpia. So there's a video in how to cook goi con in Vietnamese.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Best Kitchen. Today I'm going to share with you my recipe for gỏi con or Vietnamese pork and shrimp spring rolls with peanut butter dipping sauce. And also in this video, I will show you an easiest way to cook rice noodle. Are you ready? Now let's get started. You can use pork belly or pork shoulder for your roll, but my family like pork loin instead. You bring water and shallot to boil. Season with salt and sugar. Now add the pork. Cook on medium-high heat and timer for 15 minutes. If you cook pork belly, then you need to cook the pork twice longer. And don't forget to remove all the foam and fat that floated to the top while it's cooking. Then after 15 minutes, you need to turn the heat off, put the lid on, and let the pork sit in the hot broth for 10 minutes. But depending on the size of your meat, the cooking time may take longer or a little shorter. Mine is done around at 10 minutes. Remove all the shallots and bring the broth back to boil. Add all the shrimp. The shrimp cook very quickly. It may take from a minute to 2 minutes. Now remove all the shrimp. Let it cool before you can slice it. Now bring the broth back to boil. Remove all the foam. This will be very good broth for your future soup. To cook the noodle, bring a big pot of water to boil. Add rice noodles. Then turn the heat off. Stir the noodle around. Then set the timer for 8 minutes. If you like your noodle on the softer side, then timer is for 9 minutes. Mine is done at 8 minutes. Strain the noodle. Then rinse it with hot water. Then shake off all the excess water. Place the noodle back into its pan. Cover to keep it warm. To make a peanut butter dipping sauce, I'm using peanut butter, hoisin sauce, and water. Bring the water to boil. Then add peanut butter. Stir it well until it's dissolved. Then add hoisin sauce. And remember to cook this sauce on medium-low heat. Keep stirring until the sauce comes together. Then add 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Keep stirring until you see the sauce getting thickened and start to boil. Then turn the heat off. Cover to keep the sauce warm. Have your lettuce and fresh herbs ready. All of these fresh herbs are from my garden. Summer rolls or spring rolls are our summer favorite food. It's healthy, fresh, and perfect for any hot summer day. One thing left to do is to slice the shrimp in half and thinly slice the meat. Like I said, the way I cook the rice noodle is super easy and the result is perfect. I hope you will give it a try. So now the funnest part is to make your own rolls. Some of us like a lot of fresh vegetables, some like a lot of meat, and some like a lot of noodles. So this way everyone can make their own rolls, add their favorite filling, then roll it up tightly. Vietnamese spring rolls are perfect to serve for lunch, especially when you have a huge crowd. It's healthy, it's fun to make, and I'm sure everyone will enjoy their lunch. Now it's time to eat. Look at these beautiful rolls. It has a perfect amount of the filling. The sauce tastes great with crushed toasted peanut and sriracha hot sauce. So good. I hope you will give this recipe a try. For more great recipes, please visit my website at thebestkitchen.com. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful summer.
Bon Bo Hoi, or noodle soup, is a spicy Vietnamese soup that is absolutely addictive and one of the best noodle soups in the world. It is a beef noodle soup from Ho. There's a video in how to cook Bun Bu Hu.
Things that you need are these thick rice sticks that you can get at you would like to make. Any veggie meat. You'll also need mushrooms. I'm using enoki mushrooms and garlic cloves, a slice of lemon, 1 whole onion, lemongrass stalk and minced lemongrass, green cabbage shredded, green onions. You'll also need shrimp sauce, crab paste with bean oil, some bun bao we powder, mushroom seasoning, sugar, salt, and black pepper. Start by boiling a pot of water and placing your noodles into it. Cook according to the package instructions. In another big pot, add in your vegetable stock and about 2 cups of water. While we wait for that to boil, we're going to prep our mushrooms. Go ahead and cut off the ends and then place into a strainer. Next, take your deep fried soybean cake or tofu and thinly slice it. Place aside until ready to use. I'm also going to be placing the veggie beef chunk into a strainer and then setting aside. Next, I will take my onion, peel it, and then thinly slice it. Place aside and then take your shallot, do the same thing. Next is the garlic. I'm going to mash it and then mince it. Next, I'm going to take the lemongrass stalk and try to crush the ends of it. If the knife is not strong enough, you can also use a pestle. In a pan, add about a tablespoon of oil on medium heat and then add in the minced garlic. Go ahead and saute for about 1 minute. Next, add in the shallots, saute for another minute, and then add 1 tablespoon of minced lemongrass, the lemongrass stalk, and the onions. Go ahead and saute that for another minute or 2. Transfer the lemongrass stalk to the vegetable stock pot, and then go ahead and season the rest with a little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper, a tablespoon of sugar, a tablespoon of mushroom seasoning. Go ahead and mix that in. Next, add in a tablespoon of the bun ba hue powder and a jar of the crab paste in oil. Go ahead and mix that in. Scoop in all of the mixture into the big pot of stock and then stir to combine. Also, make sure you are checking on your noodles, and if it's ready, go ahead and strain and rinse it. Without wiping the pan, add another tablespoon of oil and then add in your mushrooms. Saute that for about a minute, and then you're going to add a little bit more oil, add in your veggie meat. And then finally add in the tofu. Cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now season it with a little bit of salt. I'm going to be using a mushroom soy sauce, but you can use regular soy sauce. I'm also going to add some black pepper and a little bit of sugar. Mix to combine. Now for the garnish, I'm just going to slice my green onions. To assemble, I'm going to add in as much noodles as I would like. Place the mushrooms inside the bowl. Now I'm going to add my veggie beef and my soybean cake. Then for the veggies, I will add in the shredded cabbage and top it off with some sliced green onions. Now all you have to do is pour in the broth, and if you have the shrimp sauce, you can add it to your meal. Otherwise, you can just eat it as is. You can also squeeze in some lime or lemon if you would like. Enjoy!
Bung nut is very similar to bung choux, Vietnamese sizzling crepes. Both are wrapped in leafy greens and dipped in a sweet chili sauce. It's much smaller and thicker than bung nut. So there's a video in how to cook bung nut. techniques or cookery terms in Vietnam. Soi len, to boil. Nuong, to bake. Tai tao, to beat. Cut, to cut. Buk, to peel. No ai dong, to stir. Chien, to fry. Niet, to heat. Hoi nok, to steam. Thiet noong, to roast. Punch. Noong, to grill. Up chow, to shoot. Tron, to mix. Sai, to blend. Bam, to chop. Nien, to mash. Nul noi, to knead. Vat, to squeeze. Rau, to wash. Radun, to defrost. Ngan, to soak. Wok, to marinate. That's all for my discussion. I hope you will learn something. I am Christine Dibuslan from BTBT Ed FSM 21. Thank you.